Hello everyone, welcome to today's Knowledge webinar. Think you're sacrificing functionality with BricsCAD Lite? Think again. In this webinar, you will learn about the intelligent and efficient 2D drafting and documentation tools available in BricsCAD Lite. BricsCAD is a professional CAD software without compromise. And if you're ready to elevate your 3D design game, today, by just joining our webinar, you will have a chance to win a 3D Connection wireless base mouse. Experience precision and control like never before. And let me tell you a little bit about Julie. Julie is the technical manager for Bricsys, North American, and she has over 30 years in the architecture, construction, and CAD industries experience. Julie provides pre- and post-sale presentations, training, and technical assistance to companies looking for professional CAD platform without compromise. Thank you, Julie Keverian, for presenting for us today. And here's the catalog page on our website where you can find BricsCAD Lite and all its permutation. I want to remind you that Novage is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, just with flexibility, selection, and assistance. So check us out at novage.com. Now, let me share Julie's screen.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to turn my web camera on just for a minute so you can see me.
Yep.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to introduce myself. Thank you, Barbara. And yeah, today we have a lot packed into our seminar. So with that, I'm going to turn off my camera and let's get right into this presentation. As Barbara said, today's focus is on BricsCAD Lite version 24. And yes, it is quite a long title for a webinar, but it really does tell our story. And again, that's if you think that you're sacrificing functionality with BricsCAD Lite, please think again. And my goal today is to show you that you absolutely are not missing out on anything when you're working in 2D. So our agenda today is going to start with a very short overview of who is Bricsys and what is BricsCAD. And then we'll dive right into BricsCAD Lite to see the very familiar user interface. And I just want to say that BricsCAD Lite not only looks familiar, but Lite's DWG compatibility ensures that smooth transition for users that might be accustomed to working in other DWG-based CAD systems. And we'll see how this compatibility helps with the seamless creation of 2D design, documentation, drawings, and enhances your overall production process. Now, compatibility also extends to using dynamic blocks right in BricsCAD Lite and even more. Now, a BricsCAD presentation would not be complete without talking about the BricsCAD AI-powered CAD tools, which also enhance your drafting process. And we do this by automating otherwise time-consuming tasks with tools like Copy Guided, Blockify, Drawing Health, and more. And throughout the presentation, we'll see how the Drawing Explorer, the Structure Browser, and of course the Quad enhance the 2D drafting experience. We'll finish up with a quick review of what was covered, answer any questions, and explain how you can get more information from Novage on BricsCAD. Now, if you do have any questions, please go ahead and type them into the chat area, and we'll answer them at the end of the session. Okay, so let's get started. First off, who is Bricsys? What is BricsCAD? What does BricsCAD do differently or better than other CAD programs? Well, Bricsys is the company name and BricsCAD is our product. And Bricsys has been building professional design and engineering software for over 20 years. Our customer base is global across Europe, the Americas, and Asia. And Bricsys is part of Hexagon AB. Now, Hexagon is a very large, publicly traded hardware and software technology group, and they're based in Stockholm, Sweden. Why is that important? Well, that means that Bricsys has the power of Hexagon behind us as we continue to develop BricsCAD. BricsCAD is a professional DWG CAD platform without compromise. And what does that mean? Well, we're a single platform for both 2D and 3D. All of this is based on the native DWG file format, so it's an alternative to that other CAD program. And because it's a single platform, you can start with 2D, and if you decide you want to move on to 3D, you can do that, again, within our single platform, meaning everything is DWG based. And this can help mitigate the risk and challenges of moving from 2D to 3D because of that single platform and familiar UI. And that's important because it's easy to learn and BricsCAD's easy to use. Also, if you have existing customizations, we can migrate those right over to BricsCAD. This can include auto list routines, and most list routines work in BricsCAD with little or no modifications. Now, what makes us different? Well, we still believe that the DWG platform is an extensible platform. And like many other companies, we've also embraced areas of AI to increase productivity. And we focused on building AI-driven tool sets that automate repetitive tasks. So we want to take out that tedious and time-consuming tasks out of your workflow to make your work easier and to help you get that done faster. Also, our licensing structure is flexible. We still offer network licenses and perpetual licenses. And if you want, we can offer subscription licenses as well. So whatever option you need, we have an option for you. So whatever best fits your needs. Who uses BricsCAD? Well, these are just a few of our customers and a few of their thoughts on BricsCAD. What you can see is that we have customers that are large and small in engineering, construction, design, manufacturing, architecture, pretty much anything. And there are 5 BricsCAD editions. Today we're focusing on Lite, which is geared to the 2D CAD work, also with AI-driven productivity tools. Pro includes everything in Lite, plus it adds 3D functionality. It also is where you'll find the survey toolkit as well. Then we have a BIM edition and a mechanical edition. And if you want everything, then we call that Ultimate. Now again, today we are focused on 2D only with BricsCAD Lite. And with that, let's jump right into the software. So, typically, when you launch BricsCAD, you'll be taken to what we call the start page. And this should be a little bit familiar. You can see the start page is divided into a couple of different sections. Over here on the right is the information panel with information about your license, little tips, and one clicks away from getting help, whether that's our help center, filing a support request, and also if you want to become a beta user. Test user. Now, I do want to say that we've recently, I think it was last week, announced our beta program for version 25. So our beta 1 is out. If you do want to participate, we'd love for you to sign up and take a look at our beta. Today's presentation is on version 24. Across the top here are various tools for creating new drawings, whether using a template here or through the wizard. Here are all the templates and even more here in this box. If you have a customized template, it's very easy to bring that over to BricsCAD and continue using it. We can open files or sheet set. And I should mention you can create new drawings or new sheet sets. And remember, because this is DWG, there is nothing to translate, there's nothing to migrate. We're simply going to open the drawings and continue working. We do have some hands-on tutorials right within BricsCAD. These will open up drawings, show you a little animation here of what this command does, in this case, copy guided, with a few instructions. And then you have the option to actually try that on, right here within BricsCAD on the drawing itself. So you can get an idea of how things are working with this online tutorial. We also have a learning tab that has more information. We have free lessons. These are just a couple. There are quite a few lessons, so I encourage you to take a look at those, as well as these are drawings that explain some of the concepts about BricsCAD. Of course, we have our recent files, which we can see as a thumbnail or as a table view, and those can be pinned as well. We can even search for our files that have recently been opened. Once we go ahead and open a drawing, again, a familiar interface. We have the ribbon. I've got a couple of toolbars up here. If you like toolbars, we have a lot of toolbars. We have predefined workspaces, and you can create your own as well. You can turn on the menu bar, the status bar, and off to the side here are my panels. So the panels, again, should be very familiar and recognizable. Below the main drawing window is our command line, which you can reconfigure, you can float it, you can dock it. I'll keep it right down there. And down below here is your access to model space and paper space. We do have a layout manager, one-stop shopping to manage your layouts, whether you want to move them around, rename them, delete them, or go into publish. Again, your output is going to be very familiar with dialog boxes and tools that you're already familiar with. Below the model space and paper space, of course, is the status bar. Again, it will be very familiar. If you like to use the grid. One thing that's slightly different is we call them E-snaps instead of O-snaps. Of course, there will be a few things that are different because these are going to be the unique BricsCAD tools, which we will be talking about as well. I also want to call your attention up here to the interface settings because we have a couple of different options for the ribbon. Generally, I work in the modern ribbon. There is a classic ribbon which might look somewhat more familiar than the modern ribbon. Now, the modern ribbon will include all of those BricsCAD unique features. There's also a ribbon without a ribbon and just toolbars. You can set your labels on or off, your theme, light or dark, and again, where you want, or if you want your status bar, command line, and menu bar. This is also one place where you can access the SUI menus. If you've done customization, again, we can bring that over and use it. And of course, customize any of these, including your command aliases. Now, we've already brought over many of the familiar command aliases, but if you've gone ahead and done further customization for yourself, we can bring those over as part of that PGP file and bring it over into BricsCAD so you can use them again. All right, something that's unique, may not be familiar, is the BricsCAD Quad Cursor. So this is an AI-based tool palette and a heads-up display right at your cursor. And it also uses machine learning because it's going to predict the command that you might need next based on how you've been using BricsCAD. And notice what I'm hovering over or select that will get different options based on that type of entity. Now, I'll be using the quad throughout this presentation, but you are not required to use the quad in order to use BricsCAD. So you can simply turn it off in the status bar if you like. There is also many settings, including settings for the quad as to when it displays, when it fades away. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And by the way, all of our settings are in one settings dialog box, so very easy to get to. All right, so today I'm going to use a series of drawings. This first one is a simple floor plan of a mixed-use complex. Now here we have some office spaces that have been started, and we've got some service areas over here with a little bit of piping. We'll also be looking at some of the fire alarm drawings. Now, first of all, I didn't create these drawings. I was given these drawings. And sometimes when we're given drawings, we inherit drawings that are a bit messy or sloppy, broken lines, and who knows what else, right? So one of the things we'll start with is to clean up a little bit of this drawing. Now here is actually a column build out where we can see it's quite a mess, a lot of lines that need to connect or be trimmed. So of course we can use our trim command. Now the trim command doesn't just trim, it's going to extend. We can even erase and undo. So we can see, we can extend that. I'm using my shift key to extend it, and we'll get a little bit of a preview there, and we can just continue to work, and we can see where that extends. Yeah, let's put that over again and start to do some trimming, all within the same command. Now this one doesn't want to trim, so let's try and erase that. Okay, that looks a little bit better. Got a little bit more here to trim up, which is very quickly done. Now here I might need to do a couple of things. I'm not exactly sure where I want this to go. There we go, that's looking better. All right, we still may have a little bit of trimming to do, but I think this is starting to look at least better than what we started with. So that's the trim command. Now here's another column build out that also has some issues. So let's do some trimming here. And that looks good. Now here though, I noticed that we've got some lines that are overlapping. Never good to have that. But we've got some tools to fix that as well. So we can use overkill to clean that up. And very quickly, now you can see a single line. I also have some gaps in some lines here, and we can use optimize to clean those up. Now keep your eye on these red circles, because we can basically change the parameters of where we want those gaps to be closed. A lot of different options here, but what's important to understand is you can preview the changes to see if your settings are what you need them to be. You're going to go ahead and apply that, but if those settings were not right, you could go back and reset them, but this looks pretty good to me there. Okay, now there's still work to be done, but we've got a few things cleaned up. Let's concentrate now on the office area. So what do we have here? We have a block for a door with another line. We have lines, single lines that are representing walls. So nothing too ornate, right? But we can see we're missing quite a few doors in most of these offices. So we can start to draw new doors, which is very quick to do using the quad. We probably need an arc in here. And we also need to offset our door panel, which you can see is very easy to do with the quad. All right, we can continue to develop this, but why, I have a block here already that I could reuse. However, if I simply go and copy the block, it's not going to cut out the walls where the door opening is. So that's going, if I use that block, then I have a lot of trim work to do, which very quickly becomes tedious. Instead, we can use a tool called Copy Guided. Now, this is one of our AI and machine learning tools. I'm going to just show you what it does, and then we'll explain it. So I'm just making a selection set here, and notice now that that door is on my cursor. And we have 4 sets of double blue arrows. Those are representing the walls on either side of the block. And notice as I move my cursor, it snaps into the matching walls, meaning areas that have that same configuration of 4 lines representing the wall. And I can just pop this in blindly with a click, or I can use dynamic input, which is these blue rectangles. So I can be very exact as to where I want to place that. But what you create or what you select in your selection set does have bearing on how Copy Guided is going to work, because Copy Guided is aligning what we copy to matching geometry. So in this case, if we extend the selection to include this T-wall, now watch how I can very quickly pop in more doors than I probably need, but it does it so quickly because it's maintaining the distance from that T-wall to the door. So not only does this count down or cut down on the number of clicks, but it's also might be helping reduce placement errors, because we know that this is a fixed dimension from what I copied to what it's matching. Now, clearly I have too many doors, and we can fix that. But if we simply delete that door, well, it's not going to clean up the walls, right? So we have a similar command called Move Guided. Now, Move Guided, I can use it a couple of different ways. I can actually move the door and it will heal the original opening and cut a new opening. Or we can simply move it out of the way and that will heal that door. So you can see that Move Guided and Copy Guided are very, very powerful tools. And then I can simply delete those door blocks and lines. So Copy Guided, Move Guided, lots of different opportunities to use that. There's even a couple of other options that we don't have time to talk about. Oh, but let's do one more. Because what I want to show you with Copy Guided and Move Guided is it also works on rotated geometry. What do I mean by that? Well, up here we have our walls are on an angle, but notice that Copy Guided will still find that matching angle to replace or to place those doors in. So instead of having to place the door like if it was just a regular block, I was inserting it as a block using the insertion, I'd have to know what that angle is or rotate it out. So again, we want to take those tedious processes out of your workflow. Well, how else can we use Copy Guided? Well, let's look here. Now, this is a single line diagram for some of the fire alarm equipment. So nothing very complicated. And in fact, we just have a symbol here. It's not even a block. And I'm missing that MM symbol down here. So again, we can use Copy Guided to select what we want to copy. This time my guide curve is only a single line on each side, and we can very quickly pop that into the appropriate location. Now, I did say that these were not blocks. Well, again, they probably should be blocks, right? Because what else do we need to do on this single line diagram? We probably need some type of a legend or a table showing me how many different symbols I have, maybe a count of how many are there. So of course, we can create a block like we've been creating blocks for decades, right? With just create the block definition. But then I still have to erase the geometry that's currently there and replace it with a new block insertion, right? Again, this can be tedious. This is a relatively simple example, and but think about if you had 100 of these to replace. How long would that take? So instead, we have a tool called Blockify. And we just need to say what we want to create a block of. let BricsCAD search the whole drawing. We'll give it a name. This is the monitor module. And BricsCAD said there are 5 places that match that geometry. We could say yes or no to any or all of those placements. We're going to replace them all. And if you blinked, you missed it, because that has now become a block. Now I'm going to turn on my rollover tips, which are related to the quad. And this will display information about that particular entity. And we can see it is a block reference with the name of monitor module. So literally in about 2 seconds, maybe even less, BricsCAD created a new block definition and deleted the existing geometry and inserted that new block in its place. Think how long it would take you to do that without Blockify. Okay, so now we need some type of account. As any good CAD program, we have options, right? So we can use bcount and just have the command line display our count. That's great for quick hit information. I just kind of want to see what we've got going on. But maybe we want to actually include a table in my drawing. So for that, we can do a couple of things. In this case, I'm going to use a list file. And it's a list file that I just found on the internet from Lee Mack. And I'm simply going to drag and drop it into my drawing. Now you could also set it up in AppLoad and have it loaded with every drawing that you open. But here are my options. I want to insert a table with this information. So let's do that. And we'll put the table in here, and very quickly done. Now we can do this because BricsCAD Lite completely supports AutoList, all parts of AutoList. So most AutoList routines are going to run in BricsCAD with no or very few modifications. So here, this is a regular table, a BricsCAD table that we can edit. And if we look at this, I don't like these colors, and it looks like my text isn't quite aligned in the middle of the row. So because this is just a regular table, we can go in and we can look at the table style. Now, when I open up the table style, this opens the Drawing Explorer. Now, the Drawing Explorer is where BricsCAD stores all of our style information. One-stop shopping for all of this information. And you can also see here that I can access all the drawings that I currently have open within the Drawing Explorer. And that's important because I can copy information, styles, between drawings right here in my open drawings through the Drawing Explorer. Okay, back to our table. You can see I've got a couple tables. We need to change the text to be justified middle center. We could also change some of the colors here of the header and the title. And there it's done. So very quickly, it's done. Quick, easy. Again, those list routines fully supported in BricsCAD Lite. All right, so what else might we need to do? Well, here is another drawing. Now, this is a retail space. Have you ever wondered if BricsCAD Lite supports blocks with attributes? Well, yes, it does. So all of these shelving blocks have attributes. And you'll see that, again, it's very familiar. We can just double click, go in, we can make some changes to our equipment. Maybe we realize that we don't have to order a new equipment here, that this is existing. So typically when we have attributes, we want to, do a couple of things with that. Oh, also the attribute manager to get to all of the different blocks that have attributes. But we can also change how those attributes are displayed. Right now, we'll go ahead and turn all of them on, which sometimes you may want to use, but because we have so many attributes, it gets a little crowded. So let's go back and put that to a normal display. But we need to get at the data that's in those attributes. Maybe there's a budget to prepare. We need purchase orders. We need a count of what's new, what's existing, so we know what needs to be ordered. So how do we do that? Well, we can do that with data extraction definition files, or DXDs. Now, I always forget where that DXD is, so we can use the search bar on the ribbon itself and search for data extraction. And you'll see that as it finds a match, everything else is grayed out, but here we can see anything that starts with data is being highlighted. So that was on my Insert tab, and let's launch data extraction. We can create a new file. I'm going to use an existing file because you can reuse them. And we can see that I've pre-selected my blocks with attributes and a few other blocks. We've got some properties that we want to include. And we have a choice of output. We can output this to an Excel spreadsheet, or we can create a table right within BricsCAD, which is what I want to do. Now, I'm creating a simple table, but you can also create a table with a data link. So that data link could be linked to an Excel table that could be driven through updates on that. But today we're just doing a simple table. And of course, we can choose the style to be used when we create that table. And now we just need to go ahead and place it. Ooh, it's kind of tiny. But again, just like we saw before, here is a regular BricsCAD table that again can be edited. Now it is quite small in comparison to my plan, so we probably would want to position this on a layout tab. And I've already gone ahead and created that layout, and we just need to position the table in that layout. And what else do we have? Well, we've got a fixture plan of the whole floor, and we have layouts with 4 different viewports for different areas of our retail store. And these are pretty far along. This plan is pretty far along. Maybe the only thing that we need to start would be dimensioning. And BricsCAD Lite is a great tool for dimensioning and 2D documentation. Again, you'll see very familiar tools as far as dimensioning. But before we go in there, I'm going to go back to the Drawing Explorer and look at my dimension style. Make sure I'm using the right one because I do have a couple. So we can visually see what those look like when they're placed. These are all of the familiar dimension style options or parameters. And we can select multiple styles to have BricsCAD give me a comparison of what's different and highlight it in blue for an easy look. There's still quite a bit here, so we can take that one step further and show only the differences between these 2 styles, which, yep, that I'm sure that I want to use my working style. And notice it is annotative. We do support not only annotative dimensions, but text styles as well. So again, all done through the Drawing Explorer. And now let's go ahead and pop in a couple of quick dimensions. Quick dimensions are just that. It's a very quick way to pop in some dimensions. Oh, let's grab this wall. And with quick dimensions, you have the option of putting them to the side or up top. And we'll go ahead and put those right up top. Now, of course, my dimensions that have been placed in model space will be viewable in paper space as well. And if you prefer, though, to work right in a viewport, you can do that as well. And there they are in model space. Okay, so remember that fire alarm diagram. So we've got this diagram. We also have a floor plan where some of those symbols have started to be placed. And we can see some of them face to the right, some of them face to the left. But when I look at these are all lines. Again, I would prefer that these might be blocks. So we saw earlier how we created a block with Blockify. Now, Blockify has several different options. What I want to try though is I want to see if there's already a block in here of the symbol. And again, where do you think our block definitions can be managed? Well, within the Drawing Explorer. You can see here from the View tab, these are all of the options or the sections within the Drawing Explorer. So we can go right into the blocks area and we can look and see, oh my, quite a few blocks. We can search, and yes, here is my speaker and strobe light for light. So that's in the drawing. We can see that there's only one reference. So it's been inserted into the drawing once. Now, how am I going to find that? I can start to search and see if one of these is a block. Again, that becomes tedious. I don't want to do that. So we have something called the structure browser. The structure browser is a graphical tree view or a non-graphical tree view of the entities in the drawing. Now, by default, it's based on layer. So layer 0 has 25 entities and all of them are blocks. Unfortunately, by default, it doesn't tell me the name of that block, but we can look at different things. We've got lines, we've got arcs, we've got more blocks. But the beauty of the structure browser, or I should say the power, is that we can change how this organizes data, how that's viewed. And we can do that because this is a configurable structure tree. By default, it's based on layer. I don't really want to do that. So I've created a CST file that will sort by block name. And now we can go in and search. I don't remember the exact name of that block, but it started with FA, and here it is. And we can see here are all the lines and circles that make up that block. And now I can simply zoom to it. And there it is. So there's my block. It's already in my drawing, so I don't have to create a new block definition. But how do we replace all of these lines with that block? Well, there's an option in Blockify to match existing blocks. But before I do that, if all these blocks were exploded, I wonder what else has happened to this drawing. Again, I didn't create the drawing. So what I'm going to do is run drawing health. Now, drawing health is a way to create utilities with many of these options: purge, audit, overkill, Blockify, find outliers, and run those against a drawing all at the same time. So I've created a routine for purging, auditing, overkill, duplicate blocks, and Blockify match existing blocks. And I'm running this in interactive mode, but you still have the option to pick and choose maybe blocks you don't want to purge if there was something you need later. Or you could just say, I don't want to do anything with blocks. But actually, we have over 500 blocks that could be purged. I think we'll go ahead and purge. But also, you could do the same thing with your layers or any of that. For now, we'll take it all. Oh boy, audit found a few things. We can have audit make some fixes. And now we're into overkill. So this is looking for duplicate blocks within the drawing. I found quite a few. Oh, here's our monitor module. And there are 2 definitions in this drawing for that. Well, let's see where they are, so maybe we can tell which one we want to use. Okay, this one is in the legend. And this, actually, there's 2 are in the drawing. So I want to use the block that's in the drawing. So we select that as the block to keep. I'm going to let BricsCAD handle the rest just in the interest of time. And now we get to Blockify. So Blockify found 47 sets of geometry that will match that block definition. Again, we could pick and choose and say, for whatever reason, no, don't convert that. But I don't see a reason to do that. So again, we will take all 47 matches. And now here is our summary report of what was purged, audited, overkilled, and blockified. We can also save a text file of that, which is stored within the drawing. the folder, sorry. And here's everything that was changed. Now, why would you need a report? Well, as I said, I received these drawings from another consultant. So I might gently want to have a discussion and say, you know, we did a lot of cleanup work on the drawings you sent us. If you're using BricsCAD, you have access to those tools. And by the way, here's the actual routine that I used, and I'm happy to provide it to you if you'd like to use it as well. Now, because there was so many changes, just for giggles, let's do a file save as, and that way we can compare the drawing file size here. Let's see. So we've got about 25%. Or actually the opposite. The drawing is now 25% of what it was. And this is a relatively small drawing, but if you had a drawing that was several megs, you know, 10 megs, and you went from 8 megs to 2, or 8 megs to 2, that's significant file saving size. And your drawings, when they're smaller, as you know, they're more efficient, they're faster to work with. And if you're paying storage space for your drawings on a server, the smaller your drawings are, you might actually start saving a little bit of money. All right, so you can see again very quickly, think about if you had to do all of those steps individually, how long it would take you versus having the drawing health routine automate that for you. Again, this is some of our machine learning and AI tools at work. Okay, so we've got these blocks. Now, what else could we do with that? Well, we may want to reuse this block so we can put it on a palette. Now, the easiest way to put that on a palette is to go back to the Drawing Explorer and simply find the block, right-click, and add it to the current tool palette. It's that easy. And now I can simply drag and drop it right into my drawing. But something is amiss because I think when I originally had the line work, it was a different color. So I think these are on the wrong layer. Well, first of all, we can set the properties on the palette to make sure that this is placed on the appropriate layer. Be sure you hit OK there. And now, yep, that's looking better. But now I have 47 instances of this block that's on the wrong layer. Well, with our select similar, we can select all of them at the same time and simply use our rollover tips and change the block, or sorry, change the layer. And again, if you blinked, you missed it because it's already done. So these are some of those tools, the quad, the rollover tips. Also keep your focus on the screen so you're not looking for commands, you're not looking to type something in, you're not looking for a toolbar. And it, again, allows you to keep your focus and work very quickly. All right, but what else can we do? We can also see that when the block was created, when we changed the layer, all of the correct orientations of that symbol are correct. So we know there's probably at least four different orientations for that speaker. We could create 4 different blocks, one with each orientation. We can rotate this, of course, but we can do something else. We can create a parametric block that will have the 4 visibility states for that speaker. Now, parametric blocks are similar to dynamic blocks that you might be familiar with, but they have a couple of significant differences. First of all, parametric blocks can be 2D or 3D. Now I'm working in Lite, so I'm only able to do 2D work, but in Pro and above, you would be able to create 3D parametric blocks. And our parametrics here, we have both geometric and dimensional constraints that are supported right within Lite. The other differentiator is that it's very easy to create parametric blocks. You can create them right within model space. There's no special spot where you need to create them. And so let's take a look. I have a copy of this drawing, and I happen to have a parametric block already created. So I'll place that, and from the properties panel, we can change the orientation of that speaker with just a click. So pretty nice. And we can go in and edit that block, and we can see that we're using a visibility parameter for the orientation. So that's one way of working with parametric blocks. Now, we've got this parametric block, but all of these are our regular block. So how are we going to replace that with that, or this with that? Well, we have a tool that will allow us to swap out blocks, replace blocks. So we just say, all right, let's see. Whoops, you know what? Let's see, what do we got going on here? Yeah, there's our block, FA. So let's replace that. There it is. We want to replace our original simple block with our parametric block. Okay, if you blinked, you missed it again. Now these are all parametric blocks, and we can very quickly see that we've got 50 of them, again, changed in the blink of an eye, and of course, in the appropriate orientation of that speaker. And now, if we needed to, we could change that. However, it needed to be orientated. Now, let me just quickly show you another example of a couple of other parametric blocks. Let me just get a blank sheet here. And here is a grocery shelf. So here, actually, let's just go look at the properties. And we can see we've got a width and a height. So we can simply change the width or the height, or both. And now we can use this shelf in whatever dimensions that we need. So very, very interesting. Let's go ahead and edit that just so we can see the parameters, and we can see that these are the different parameters and constraints and how that all works. So they're pretty easy to create as well. But now you might be thinking, well, I have some dynamic blocks that I've been using for years. Well, we can still use those in BricsCAD Lite. We can see this sink here. We can have a left or a right sink. We've got some landscaping trees here, so we can show them in elevation or in plan. So these are dynamic blocks, right? If we hover over them, we can see it's a dynamic block and the name of the block. So they're working fine in BricsCAD. But there may be a point where you don't want that. And unfortunately, we cannot edit these dynamic blocks because AutoCAD still maintains the patent on that. So AutoCAD is the only software that can edit these blocks. And here it says it's a dynamic block, it cannot be edited. However, it also says, do you want to convert it to a parametric block which can be edited? Oh, yes, please. So our block convert tool will scan the drawing looking for all of the dynamic blocks. And now there are a few that are not yet convertible, but we're working on that. But we can select all of these blocks, 8 of them, convert them either in this drawing, or what I'm going to do is create a folder for each block individually with a suffix of pblock, and that will be available in my library. So again, let's see. Let's grab that drawing. So in my library, I have a folder, and all of these were just converted. So we can insert a couple of them, and we can make the parameters chosen here, right? And let's see our tree. Well, let's go back to our nice palm tree. And you can see they behave the same way. So again, in the blink of an eye, if you blinked, you kind of missed it, we can take those existing dynamic blocks and convert them into BricsCAD parametric blocks with the same functionality. So I think we're just about out of time. Let me do a quick wrap up here. So as you can see, there was a lot that we covered. More, and there's more. I mean, there's even more in BricsCAD Lite that I didn't have time to show you. But as a quick review, we saw how familiar the overview or the UI is of BricsCAD Lite. It's compatible, it's familiar, it has a familiar commands and familiar interfaces. There's compatibility with the DWG file format because you just open the drawing and continue to work. Familiar with autolist routines and the ability to use your existing dynamic blocks right in BricsCAD Lite. And we also saw what sets BricsCAD Lite apart from other CAD software, some of the AI-powered tools and machine learning tools that help you create your drawings faster, and especially in Lite, really geared to that 2D design documentation process. And we do this by automating those tedious and time-consuming tasks with things like the Quad, Copy Guided, Move Guided, Blockify, Drawing Help, Drawing Explorer, Structure Browser, just some of the things that we saw today. And I just want to say that, again, there wasn't enough time to show you everything. Some things that we didn't touch on were output, publishing, printing. We saw a little bit with the Layout Manager. We can create sheets, sheet sets in the Sheet Set Manager. Customize your output pages, annotative text, dimensions, M-leaders. We saw a little bit about tables. And there's just so much more in BricsCAD Lite. So that was a quick overview. Now, are there any questions before I turn it back over to Barbara?
Thank you, Julie. There are no questions so far.
Okay.
So we have a few minutes. So
Right.
I'm going to take the screen back.
Please, yes.
So I can show everybody where they can potentially get their BricsCAD Lite. Just go to Novage.com, search for BricsCAD. Novage is changing the way designers purchase 3D software, offering faster service, huge selection, and really uncomplicated business that gets you exactly the tools you need. So thank you so much for this detailed overview. Wow, BricsCAD Lite sure packs a punch. I want to remind everybody that today one of you will go home with 3D Space Mouse, courtesy of 3D Connection. There'll be a raffle later on, and I'll assign the winner. So if I contact you, it's not a prank. You are the winner of a 3D Connection 3D Space Mouse. So I'm still taking time to see if anybody has any question, but Julie was so, I think you covered everything.
No, there's still things I didn't cover.
Imagine that. No, that was great. But if you have questions, you can contact us, email us. Our sales people can address all your questions and more. Thanks again for joining us today. Thank you so much, Julie. And check us out at Novage.com, and especially check out BricsCAD Lite and join the beta program for BricsCAD 2025. That's a great way to stay atop of the latest and contribute to making the software of your choice better. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.